Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Not Another Fightcast. I am Andy the Icon Burrows, and sadly today I am without my broadcast colleague, Mr. PC Commentary, Phil Campbell. Phil has another show live at 3 with Brave Combat Federation today, so sadly he is not with me, but luckily I am with one of Northern Ireland's premier personal trainers, and somebody who has also trained to compete in professional wrestling. I am with the wonderful Steffie McCluskey. Steph, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. Thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. We're getting on pretty well now in what is lockdown/quarantine. So I think everybody's just getting used to it now. So we're all just trundling along. How is this quarantine/lockdown thing treating you?
I think I'm lucky enough that I have some equipment at home. So I'm lucky that I can kind of get creative, and I quite enjoy making up random workouts and doing them anyway. So for me, I've kind of enjoyed the time of just a bit of creative thinking and making fun workouts, and then I've been doing some workouts and sharing them, with everybody, that things that people can do at home. I think a lot of people maybe realized how much they were dependent on their gym, and now that that's been taken away, I think a lot of people are like freaked out. What are they going to do? So I've been trying to do a lot of stuff that means that people can still do a bit of something at home. Now, it's not going to be the best time for getting personal bests. You're not going to be doing all these mad strength lifts, but you can still move your body. We're still allowed to go out and exercise. And I don't know, I think it's just use your time wisely as well. Like, we're not going to wake up every day and want to go on a 5-mile run or lift any weights. There are some days that we're just going to want to have a down day. And like, I think just realizing that that's okay is fine. But if you want to exercise, you can just go into your garden and exercise. You don't need a fancy gym right now.
No, absolutely not. Whenever this putrid virus arrived in Great Britain, Kira and I, my partner Kira, long-suffering partner Kira, has...
My running buddy.
Yes, your running partner as well. We saw this thing coming and like, screw this. And Kira was like, I cannot deal with the gym being closed. So we're going to have to buy weights. I would have been the first murder victim of the coronavirus in Northern Ireland if Kira didn't have weights to lift. So we were very lucky that we were able to get an Olympic bar, 100 kilos, 130 kilos of weights, and basically just set up our own little home gym, skipping rope boxing. I have the bike set up and turbo trainer and stuff, so it's worked out okay for us. I was actually talking to Clanworth champion Troy Gibson the other day, and I was saying that this is probably the most structured my training's been in like 2 years.
It's because you have time, though.
Completely.
Time to prioritise.
Completely. As you rightly pointed out, being more versatile with your stuff and being a bit more creative, which is what's lost a lot in the fitness industry, I think, is the creativity, because you have everything at hand in the normal commercial gym or any private gym now. You've got a myriad of equipment, from yokes to everything now. I think that you're just losing that creativity. Go and do the leg press machine, enjoy. Whereas now, you're doing kettlebell lunges in the garden. You're doing maybe yoga online or something. It's quite it's liberating in a way as well. It's kind of liberating.
I hate to say the word. It's more functional, though, isn't it? We all hate the words. It's functional, but it is, because it means people actually have to move the way like we're made to move. You're not relying on machines at all. You have to do everything yourself, which means that you're not just working your muscles. You're working your muscles that are going to help and everything. So you're not just using one plane of motion, you're doing it in every plane of motion. So I think a lot of people will probably benefit from movement.
Yeah,
will be a good thing.
One thing that I will find, what I am finding very difficult personally, is the fact that I had started hot yoga.
Yes.
In Flow Yoga Belfast, and it was like a complete revelation to me. With needing a hip replacement, it was fantastic for arthritis. I was leaving there like there's nothing wrong with me. This is a miracle.
Like a new person.
And then now this has started. I can't freaking get there. I haven't been able to get now in 3 weeks, so that's depressing to me. But everything else seems to be going really, really well.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of apps and a lot of people doing a lot of free stuff as well. I've had to get really creative. We have a big dog pen outside. It's like a big metal frame, so I've just started using it as like a gym frame. So we've been using it to do our pull-ups on through the wee door. There's like a bar above where the gate would be, so we've been using that to do our pull-ups on, and then I've been able to attach all the bands, and then you can kind of use it as a cable machine. So that's how creative our workouts have got, that we're using a dog pen as a rig. But
it also shows you now, like in the future when you can't get to the gym, like if you go in 6 months or 3 months or whenever this hell ends, and you'll be, I don't need to go back to the gym to do that. I've got this sitting at home, and I can just go back into the time of quarantine to work out mentally. And I think it could change an awful lot of people's training for the better rather than for the worse.
No, I think it definitely will. And I think so many more people will be focused on their movement and how their body feels rather than just going in for like big PBs or big strength training. Like
Yeah.
I've done so much yoga. There's like an app, there's a free app you can download, Down Dog, I think it is. So I've been on it and it just creates a sequence for you every day. So in the morning times, like, because it's nice weather, luckily we've got as well. I've been going out and doing so much more of that. But I think that really helps with your training because if you can move better, you've more range of movement, you're going to lift better
Absolutely.
anyway. So,
oh, of course you are, yeah. I mean, that was one of the bigger things you find out when you actually start doing the bigger lifts, your squats, your deadlifts, stuff like that, how much actual flexibility plays a real part in being able to, especially through having being strong through the full range of motion rather than just the initial snatch or pull set, style of that. And it makes a big, big difference to the lift. And you're more controlled anyway because you're more aware of how your body works.
Yeah. I think that's one thing I've really realized is like imbalances. So trying to do like right now we can do a lot of single leg work because we have the time as well to spend on it. But I think that's when you really start to realize your imbalances. And then that gives you something then to work on as well.
Yeah, completely. Well, this is a combat sports podcast primarily, although Phil and I in our very first episode did talk the fact that we want to get on primary personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, people who, the whole holistic approach to being fit to compete. And that could be being fit to compete in a combat sport or fit to compete in any sport or just compete at life ultimately.
Yeah.
So with that said, you did take part in professional wrestling training.
Yeah, I did. I did for a long time.
Yeah, so what I want to do is, first of all, tell me how you got into that, what made you want to do that, and what did the training entail? So first of all, how did you get into that?
So I really, and I still do actually really enjoy watching, I'm sure everyone's heard of WWE wrestling. Everyone knows about WWE. And I used to watch it and I love the matches. And then a couple of years ago, they started doing a lot more stuff to do with females and like motivational females, female and power, females in sport. And their female like section just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the females just got stronger and they were doing more. And that to me was just like really appealing and nobody else was really doing it here. And I was getting into my fitness, into my sports. And then I just literally was watching the program one day about the divas or something, the WWE divas, whatever. And I was like, I would love to do that. So I just Googled it. I looked up wrestling skills in Belfast and found one. And I contacted them and I was like, do you take on girls? Like, what's the training? Blah, blah, blah. And they told me about their membership, what they do. And I could call down and have a chat with them and like check out the training. So like me being me, like not very confident at all. I was like, right, I'll call down to this wrestling place. So I just went down one night. I think I was in Demurray at the time. And I went down, watched their wrestling thing. And then I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. There was one other girl at the time, Lauren. So I was just like, they were like, we could really do with having an extra girl. And you're already into fitness and you enjoy sports. So why not give it a go? So I did. I think the training I did, it was like their training, I think was like maybe 4 or 5 days a week, but I went like 3 or 4. You just could kind of go whatever suited, your schedule. And I think I was going 3 or 4 days a week at one stage, nights a week after work. So I just went up and did our wrestling every night. And like the training was amazing. Like those guys are fit. And it's so, everyone's like thinks that the wrestling isn't real, but like the wrestling is real. The moves are real. And it's just done in a way that's safe. So yes, the moves are real. You're still doing it. Like I got flinged about, thrown to the ground, pinged over everything, but you're just taught how to control your landing or how to control certain aspects of it. So like the sport is real. The movements are real. It's just done in a controlled way so that it's safe for the people. But it was amazing training, gave me a really good insight and went down to watch quite a lot of the shows down in Ireland. And watch some of the shows up here and like they're just amazing. The people are amazing. And it's so intense. But it's like it was a wonderful thing to be able to do and I learned a lot from it. Like they can take a lot. Yeah. And they put their body under so much stress.
The amount I went and watched the guys up in Titanic train as well. And we had one of Northern Ireland's primary heavyweight wrestlers on as well, Damien Corbin, Colin Jackson, Damien /
Yeah, I know him well.
He's brilliant, absolutely fantastic performer, phenomenal performer. We watched him there take on, it was David Starr for the over the top heavyweight title recently in Europa. Fantastic match, absolutely fantastic. And these guys are immense athletes, like immense athletes.
Totally.
Just, people, well, wrestling's fake. I'm like, well, okay, yes, as you rightly pointed out, what is happening to you is not fake. As Diamond Dallas Page said, it's not fake, it's just predetermined. There's going to be who's going to win, but you're still taking an immense amount of damage to the body and punishment. It's crazy. So what sort of stuff was actually involved in the training? Describe me what average sort of training would have looked like?
We would have done like a warm-up session, obviously, before every time, because there's so much impact on your body. You have to do quite a lot of warm-ups. So there would have been quite a lot of like body movements, squats, lunges, and then we would have done a lot of rolls. So everyone would have been in the ring, and we would have came along like an L shape, and you would move across diagonally. So it's just whatever the instructor or the teacher, would call is what you did. So there would have been like your forward rolls, then you would have had your back rolls, then you would have had your falls, and then there's bumps. So bumps is where you just have to pretty much fall back and land on your back, but there's like a specific way to do it. So we did quite a lot of those, because then when it came into doing sequences and things, you really just had to make sure that your body was able to take them and you were ready for it. And then after they did the initial warm-ups and all the bumps and the rolls and the tumbles and things, they would move into like little sequence. So they would give us like a certain type of moves, and they would put certain ones together. So you would just team up. So like 99% of the time I was teamed up with a guy, because it was majority guys there. So it also meant you just got to learn it real raw from them as well. Like there was no like pussying about. It was literally just like you were took into the team, and that's just what you had to do. So you got thrown about, you got hit as much as the rest of them. So you would go over sequences, and like I take my hats off to those guys, because it is not easy to remember when you're in a stressful environment and you have got maybe like 6, 7, 8 things to remember in a line. And if you get one of those sequences wrong, like you could really injure someone, or if you were in the wrong place, like they could really injure you as well. So there was a lot of trust there with the guys as well. So I think they all had a really good bond, because if you're not going to trust this person to like fling you about and tip you upside down and catch you at the right moment, then you're going to get injured. So it was amazing. It was an amazing time, and it was really like the sessions were amazing, but they were very intense. So you did your warm-ups, then we did all our bumps and things, and then you did your sequences, and then we kind of they would pair you up, and then you would perform that sequence that you learned in front of each other, and then we would do a cool down, and that's kind of just how the sessions went. Some days there would be some mad like throwing in the air things, and then some days it would just be learning fundamentals and basics of being with each other.
Yeah, it is quite amazing. It's very, very impressive, no matter what anybody says. And this is not a lie. I've said it in the podcast before. Whenever I started taking part in MMA, I actually thought this is going to be pro wrestling. I didn't think that it was real. I thought at some stage somebody's going to come along and go, you know what, this is all bollocks. Yeah. You're going to win. Here's the finishing sequence. Here's how it's going to work. And right up until basically after I'd finished competing as an amateur, it didn't happen. I was like, actually, oh fuck, this actually is real.
This is real.
Yeah. Oh, he is going to elbow me in the face. All right. This is what
works. Okay, thanks.
So I thought, like, when I was younger, I'm still a wrestling fan now, and I think most mixed martial arts competitors / people who like watching mixed MMA do watch professional wrestling, and there's a lot of crossovers now with Lesnar, Lashley, CM.
Yeah, totally. Ronda Rousey and all of them.
Ronda, up to a certain extent, with her, she just the schedule crippled Ronda, but she was absolutely amazing. I think now there's so much of a crossover between the two that these people are enjoying the same pageantry and the same sport, and you can see promotions like Bellator as well using the big ramp entrance, the loud music, the sort of the circus performer style of what it would be like to be a professional wrestler. But whenever I was younger, watched it, quite a lot of it, and there was also a Japanese promotion that was marketed in inverted commas as real. It was called UWF, and it was marketed in Great Britain as Bushido. It was on Channel 4, and it's only now, later in, not now, I knew obviously then a few years afterwards, didn't look entirely correct. And then you realise someone like Nobuhiko Takada is involved in it. You're like, it's all fake. Fuck. Why didn't I see this at the start? But it was really, really clever. They did, in inverted commas, what's called shoot style, which is obviously you being involved in professional wrestling. You understand that the term shoot is just another word for real. So if somebody says this is a shoot, this is real. was deemed as shoot wrestling, where you were allowed open hand slaps and the kicks and stuff for real, but there was a predetermined outcome, a predetermined finish. But that was my entrance to MMA, because I thought, it's going to be pro wrestling. I know it is. Sooner or later, no, it wasn't.
No, you just actually get beat up.
Yeah, you just actually get beat up for real. So as I said years ago, I could have been basically grappling with another man in my pants for real, or sorry, for fake, but instead I ended up grappling with another man in my pants for real. That's what happened.
Well, it's worked out all right, hasn't it?
It's part, yeah, I feel like, well, yes, kind of. Yeah, but that's how that worked out. You didn't eventually then go on and actually have a professional wrestling match, so you didn't actually go on and take that any further and get into the ring, no?
No, I tapped out because, as much as I really enjoyed the wrestling, it was so intense, and see, like, the point of having to then perform, like, it was okay doing the wrestling, doing the training, but then when it came to being like in the ring, I just got so nervous, and that really put me off, and it just really, like, it worried me as well, because if I was in a ring and I was really worried and I was really nervous, like, was I going to injure someone, or was I going to do something wrong, or were they going to injure me? And then because I also have my personal training career on the side, then it was just a worry for me that I was going to get injured, and that would then affect my career and what I needed to do in the future. So it was more kind of like I psyched myself out, and I know I did, and I wish, like, every single bone in my body wishes so much that I had just even did one match, because, like, I went and got my custom outfit made, so, like, I'll have to find it somewhere, like, but I have it, and, like, it was my outfit for me, and I got it made based on, you know, your woman Eva Marie,
the
one with the red hair, so I got, like, an outfit just like hers made, but in my color, so it was like blue and pink, and, like, it was amazing, but I've never worn it because I just tapped out and never did it, but that's probably a big regret of mine. I really wish that I had
one of those things. Never say never. Don't ever write yourself off at this stage. There's plenty of people who drift in and out of sport and then go back to it at some point in their life and go, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna do it now. And especially now, you know, when you have a greater understanding of how the body works and, you know, modalities for injury, proper recovery. Because back then, whenever I was competing and training in MMA, recovery didn't exist. Recovery was for losers. People didn't recover at all. I was going to say properly, but at all.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as recovery. Now people are using CBD, they're using remedial massage, they're going and having salt baths, they're going and, you know, ice baths, you know, like lighter training days, recovery day, all that stuff.
Active recovery.
Active recovery. Active recovery was never a real thing back then. People were like, active recovery, what are you doing? And it would have been like frowned upon. Oh, you're not training hard enough.
Yeah.
I'm dying here. I can already walk.
It's like my body's given up. I think now, though, we've got a greater appreciation probably for, like, knowing ourselves a bit better. So it's like, if I wake up someday and I'm absolutely really busted, just because that's meant to be a day of exercise, if I know my body's busted, I will leave it till the next day, because you just clearly need that bit of time.
Yeah, that's
okay. Body. That's allowed.
That's your body telling you you need a rest. Yeah. You are done with that. You need to just take a day off or take some time off. And the amount of times I say that to people in the gym too, you know, you actually just need to go home. And people are like, no, we're not training. It's not how life works now. You just need to go home today. There's nothing you're going to do that's going to make you fitter, stronger, better, faster, or a better competitor in this hour and a half that's going to change your life. So go home.
What is it? FOMO? Everyone's fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Whereas I've got to that stage in my life now where I'm just like, I'm okay at missing out for that one day. Like, if I know now, I know my body, and I trust my body a lot more, that if I do need a day of rest and recuperation, then to just take it. And it's really not going to put you any further back. It's just going to make you more hungry for it the next day.
Yeah, or you're going to then perform better the next day. You're going to feel like a better, like, I look back now and think, oh, fuck, you're such an idiot. No wonder your body's racked with injury, because of all the days where you probably just got, like, rolled out of bed and went, oh, no. And then 20 minutes later, you find yourself, like, making your way to the gym, and it was awful. Yeah. You had a terrible time. You felt mentally drained. You felt physically drained. I think now there's more information too. Back then there wasn't the cascade of information that there is today. I mean, you can just click onto YouTube now and go, recovery, brilliant, and you have some alleged recovery specialist or doctor telling you, here's why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and here's how to make it better. And even just the advances in exercise science, they're just through the roof. Even nutrition, diet, my fuck, when I look back, my diet was so bad. But you didn't realise that. You thought you were doing things right. You weren't. You had no idea what you were doing.
No, I totally agree with it. It takes a lot. I think it takes a long time to figure out yourself as well, like what your limitations are and what your capabilities are and what you need to do, because we are just so different. Like, but everyone needs different rest periods and everyone needs different nutrition, and some people need more carbohydrates, some people don't take well to it. But it's just, I think, spending the time to figure that out.
Yeah, and
it's probably what people don't do. Yeah,
education is the answer there. Absolutely, education. The more people become informed about how the body works and about how they can fuel it correctly, rather than, you know, basically eating for sustenance rather than eating as fuel. There's massive, that bit in between is gigantic. People are now starting to see that plays such a vital role in how they will perform. It's not even just like the next day, but maybe weeks and months down the line. You're setting a really good foundation for it.
Yeah, I'm like big up on the education at the minute, because that was one of my driving factors between going back to study, because like, well, I'm like 29 now, so 10 years ago when I left school, I wasn't into fitness as much as I was now. I wasn't into training. I wasn't into everything I'm into now. And then 10 years down the line, I'm now like, really know what my life passion is. My life passion is fitness and helping people and education. And I love teaching people, and I love doing education, and I love doing that with like younger people as well. So that's why I decided to go back to study sport and exercise science, so that I can go get the degree and then hopefully lecture in the college.
That'd be brilliant.
So that's my plan, is to be a college lecturer in the sport and exercise science.
Or else don't give up coaching either. Definitely don't give up.
Oh no, I'll always still do coaching on the side. Like, love coaching, but I just really love teaching as well. But 10 years ago, I would never have known that I wanted to teach in the sporting field. So
oh no, I remember I would have always been like, no, not interested in coaching, never want to do it. People are dicks. I'm a dick. I'm not doing this. This is going to end terribly. And now I was talking to Phil the other day on one of our podcasts as well, and I was just like, I really miss it. I really do. And I've been doing it for so long. I miss the routine of it. I miss your interactions. You miss the good things that you can do for somebody else, how you bring your own personality into the coaching arena or the practice room. And that's something
and you're part of their life. You become part of someone's life, I think, as well, which I think that's the nicest thing for me, is like to be the part of someone's life, and you're doing them good and you're helping them be a better person, like the best person that they can be. You're trying to give them a wee bit of a push in that direction. I think that's a lovely take home from coaching. Really, it is.
It's that, you know, when people, for a while there, everybody was inspired by something. You know, I was inspired by watching a guy walk his dog, or, you know, a cloud once. But that truly, it's always like everything inspired by this. It's piss off. But that's true, because there's been times in my life where people have approached me 3 and 4 years later and went, "Do you remember this day?" And I'm like, "Nope." They're going, "This day." One guy actually said, this fella, I'm not going to go through the whole story. I'll tell you the story one day when we're not here. He says, "You changed my life. I was going home to kill myself." I was like,
and you just don't realize the impact.
And I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize that 3 or 4 years later, when I met the person in a completely separate setting. He says, "If I didn't speak to you that day, I had my plan all set, had the notes ready to go, and I was going home to kill myself." I was like, "Holy shit!" You know, so
but you just don't realize the impact you have.
And that was a very minor interaction, 1 hour out of my day, and I was like, I'm pretty happy with that. Now that's a good thing to do for somebody. So as you say, you don't know, you could be inspiring somebody else, you could be changing their life, you could be doing something pretty cool, and that's what coaching's about. So you're now, as I said before, one of Northern Ireland's premier personal trainers. Okay, and I don't say that lightly, because I have a lot of friends still in fitness industry myself in a big way. I don't say that lightly. There's a lot of personal trainers in Northern Ireland, but not too many people get the attention that you get, and that you have. So you're very, very popular. Tell me now, realistically, what you are doing what's your main driving factor in the fitness industry, other than going on to become a lecturer?
I work with, well, I suppose not loads of people know this anyway. At the minute, I just work with females. I work with women who, the majority of them are women in business, women who are mums. It's busy mums that don't really necessarily have time to spend on themselves, and they just need some help. So I do a lot of like motivation and mindset with a lot of people, and training, just to make people feel better about themselves, and better, just to it's just to give people a bit of a break out of their day. Like, so many people are so busy, they don't even have a minute in the day to think about themselves. And I just really, really enjoy taking them out for that 1 hour. They come and train with me and we work on absolutely anything that they need to work on. I just really, really love coaching people. I love training people, and I really love working with women. It's not like, it wasn't a choice that I set out just to be like, I'm working with women. It's just kind of been something that's boiled down to, I just work really well with like women in business, professional women, busy mums who just need a little bit of help. And like, that's all I do. I just really enjoy it. I do it for the passion, passion of helping and the passion of making people feel better about themselves. And it doesn't really take loads as well. Like, people can just come and you can just work on little things. Like, some people I don't think realize that, like, I had one of my clients was drinking so much coffee she couldn't sleep. I do like a goal setting thing with everybody. It's like a circle and we fill out things and see if they all cross reference with each other. So she couldn't sleep, but she was drinking loads of coffee and just all these things mounted up. And when we actually sat down and looked at her goal thing, it was like she was drinking so much coffee like all day long. She was so stressed out, she couldn't sleep, and all these factors just boiled up into like just a bit of a mess. But she just didn't really know how to break that down or how to make that like a bit more manageable for herself. So I then just work on little things with people, try not to stress anybody out because I don't really see the point in it. And we just figured out little things, and it's just little things people can put in place. So if she could have just cut her coffee down by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, tried to stop working at a certain time and got a certain amount of hours sleep, then that affected everything else in her circle. So she was able to get up better. She was in a better mood. She wasn't dependent on caffeine all the time. She was going to bed at a reasonable hour. And then that meant that she was actually finding time to fit fitness into her life. She was able to come train with me. She then started taking up running because she just felt a bit more motivated. She had extra time. And that's just the kind of stuff that I really enjoy doing with people. It's like figuring out their why. Like, what is their why?
The goal setting aspect of that is something that I think everybody can at least have some sort of parallel with. I mean, goal setting is a big thing in life. I could turn the camera around. I can show you, like, I have a wee board here beside me. It was goals basically for the podcast. A lot of them we've achieved, and some of them we still haven't. But I was reading recently as well, talking about goal setting and mind setting, and it ties into professional wrestling. Diamond Dallas Page, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, a guy who has really fashioned this phenomenal thing called DDPY. It used to be known as DDP Yoga. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I haven't actually.
He's really worth
I'll have to look it up.
Honestly, it's absolutely phenomenal. And he has done a couple of great YouTube documentaries now, with one with a former professional wrestler called Scott Hall, and professional wrestler also that everybody will have heard of, which is Jake the Snake Roberts. So he's done a reinvention of Jake the Snake. I think it's on Amazon or it's on Netflix, one or the other, but two phenomenal documentaries where he basically has built these people up from the ground again. It's absolutely amazing. But he has a fantastic book called Positively Unstoppable. And I just finished it yesterday. I've actually read it 2 or 3 times now, but I finished it again yesterday, and it's just superb. And a lot of that is goal setting. Give yourself a time scale, cut down this just little bit of the time, 2-3% of the time. Just don't go mad. And over a longer period of time, you can see such a real difference. And that's exactly really what you're identifying, but in a different way and in a different style, ultimately.
Yeah, that's what I just love. I just love working with my women, that like we can just like identify one little small thing, and then that can just turn into such a bigger picture. As well with everybody's training, like I'm really keen on sticking to the basics, sticking through movement patterns and making people able to move a bit better in their daily life. So we do a lot of just like basic movements, but then just making sure that people are sound in their movements, making sure that everyone can move properly before you add your loads. And then we kind of like tailor it. It's just very like progressive overload. So you start with a basic squat and then you build it up through their movement patterns, and then start adding their loads, and then give them different options and variables, which is good for people now, because now we're in isolation. They've already been taught the basics, so it's so much easier for like all my clients now at home to be training, because they know the basics, they know the movement patterns, and they can kind of just go out and do it, which is really, I don't know, I think that's a bonus of things to do. I do some sport specific, so I have a couple of girls that I've trained for marathons, triathlons, and a few hockey players, which is good. Right. But that would kind of be different. When I do my sports science, I would put a lot of my sports science stuff into that and do their mechanics and their movement patterns, and then see what they are lagging in their sport. So I have a hockey player at the minute who couldn't like there were certain turns and specific movements she couldn't do. So we sat down together and I broke down her movements, and then we kind of tailored her a program that suited that specific way. So it just meant when she comes out of this, she'll be able to move a bit better, perform a bit better. And it was things that she really thought she was lagging in. So that's another type of like training that I do with people that I enjoy. I really do enjoy the sport specific as well. But it just takes, you really have to sit down and do their then sporting profile with them and see where their imbalances are, and then do their testing with them, do their movement patterns, and then see what it is for their specific sport, what they're lagging in.
A huge amount of sense, because a lot of the stuff I do whenever I coach with people is I always try and point out, like, I'm going to try and assist you to make a very small biomechanical change, and the small biomechanical change over time will make you more economical. That's not even a word.
Economic.
And that's like, I just made up a word. It's a word now, right?
Yeah.
So it make the person more economic, and also make them produce power maybe at different times. So you're getting more out of your effort for longer.
They're more efficient.
Exactly. The efficiency side of that becomes part. So I always talk about slight biomechanical changes over time, nothing too crazy. Again, just what we talked about, goal setting, nothing too crazy. And you can see how people's movements improve, and you can see how people then do become more confident in that movement. Now that all makes a great deal of sense. How you mentioned running there, and running was a huge passion of mine until arthritis has claimed my right hip. You are now running quite a lot, yes?
Yeah, I really enjoy track and field. So a couple of years ago, I took up track and field because I was doing a lot of running with the dog. So I took up track and field, this was after the wrestling, joined a track and field little group, and then I really got into sprinting. So I run for Lagan Valley, and sprinting's my thing. For the first year, it was my first year of sprinting. I really just did mechanics for the first year with my coach. All it was mechanical drills, doing 100 meters, trying to get your speed up, sprint up, your style up. And it probably took me, I would say, the full year to learn how to run properly.
It's crazy.
Like, it's so different. Like, sprinting is so different than running. And so many people also just run wrong, but they don't realize they're doing it.
They just try and walk fast. Ultimately, a lot of people.
Yeah.
You
so
don't really see
it took me a long time.
There is so much involved. I could spend literally days talking about it. There is so much involved in the mechanics of running, and how many times now when you're watching other people run, can you identify the person simply just by their gait?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's such and such. You do it all the time naturally now because you're looking out for it.
I coach Jog Belfast, Couch to 5K. That's another thing that I do. So when I got into my running, I love running as well. I think it's a free thing that absolutely anybody can do, and you can do it at any fitness level. You can run any distance, but don't obviously go out and run 10Ks at the beginning. You do have to build it up. So with Couch to 5K, that's one thing that we do. We really build them up over a 10-week program. But what I really enjoy from that is seeing people come in at the start, and there's a lot of heel steppers, or there's a lot of like people whose mechanics are really, really wrong. But over that 10-week period, we can just do little tiny things each step of the way to make their running better, like little drills, like teaching them to run on the balls of their feet, not their heels. And that for me is an absolutely amazing progression to see over the 10 weeks. Now, I'm not saying they're amazing runners in 10 weeks, but their gait will have, they're better runners. They're moving better.
That's exactly the way that we just talked about, incremental changes. Yep. Especially with running, not everybody's going to come in and go, oh, I'm a perfect 4-foot striker. My arms directly drive behind my body. I lift my elbows up towards my neck at the back, and I drive my arms forward and lifting my hand directly. And nobody does that.
I can propel. Sometimes I'm a bit of an elbow winger. So at the end of a race when you're dying.
You find your mechanics going. That's one of the things I used to always. I ran Kira. I used to fracture Kira, something shocking. I used to let my arms fall because I'm not fast at all, but I like going for long distances. So let your arms fall and just allow them to naturally swing past the body. And I used to drive Kira around the bend like that. Fucking lift your hands, you look stupid. No, it's nice and soft and not adding burden into the upper back and shoulders, and I'm not activating too much muscle tissue that's then going to need oxygenated blood to fill that. I'm not taxing my heart and lungs as much. And then I found that was just a very natural, languid, normal style for me now. But you can't fucking do anymore because of this. It's driving me around. I will be back, no matter what anybody says. Once I get a new hip, I'm back. So
just build. It'll just take a matter of building the whole thing up, though. But
yeah.
like, if the motivation to do it, you can do it, can't you?
Yeah, and I literally have looked into obviously running marathons with hip replacement. There's lots and lots of people can do it. If they can do it, then I can do it. There's no big difference.
Yeah.
We're all humans. We've all got 2 arms and 2 legs and 1 head. So I'm happy to have a go at it. It doesn't really. It's one of those things. It doesn't faze me. It's just going to be a new.
It's a part of the process, and you'll deal with it. And
yeah.
But see, that's a winner's mindset. That's a good mindset. Not everyone has that, but.
No, and I think you can be defeatist with injury, or genetics, depending on which one's causing you the problems at the time. Everybody can be defeatist with injury, and that's one of the things that's being involved in athletic competition people miss out on. Everybody gets injured, no matter who you are. You could be the best.
It's just the grieving process, isn't it?
It is a grieving process. Trust me, it fucking is a grieving process. You do go through it. That's actually really good. I've never looked at it like that before.
There's an actual, I would have to find out the reference for you, but there's an actual process called the grieving process if you look it up through athletics. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think it's a 5-part process that athletes go through when they get injured. And it's all about like the psychological issues that you would go through those 5 stages, and how different people go through them at different times, and different influences affect different times and different ways that people flow through it. But yeah, look it up. So I'm pretty sure it's called the grievance.
Yeah, but that does make sense actually. You know, when you get your anger stage, your disbelief, all the things that really do come with grief. Because I know, fine rightly, that now looking back on the injury that I have, which is, well, it's not an injury, it's just genetics, it's arthritis in the hip. That for a year beforehand, I just thought I had a groin strain. So I just carried on as normal, ran marathons, just didn't, okay, it's a bit sore, who cares? Yeah. And then it got worse, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's a labral tear. That's maybe what it is. Just got worse, carried on. Maybe it's a hernia, carried on.
Yeah, because you don't believe.
I just didn't want to believe. And then when you go to the doctor, you need a new hip. No, I don't. I'm fine. No, you do. Yeah, you don't have any room there now. Look, fuck. And then by then it's too late. Yeah, next. So that's, and that is true, because you go through all those weird stages of, you know, as I said, disbelief, anger, frustration, all those definitely resentment. And then you eventually come to the conclusion that, you know, it can get better.
Yeah. And then you'll either, but that's you coming out on the other side. It's like you sink or swim. It's like you'll either believe that that'll be the end of it and you can't do anything about it. Otherwise you will push through it. What was the one that I did a study on? For my assignment, I did a study on. There was a girl, I can't remember her name. She was a surfer from Australia, and she was in like a shark accident, and she lost one of her arms. And she was a professional surfer, lost one of her arms. And I think after the whole process and all, she was up and back on her surfboard within 6 months. And she was competing again within a year. But that was just her mental state. She wasn't going to let it get to her.
Yeah. And a good description, a shark accident.
Yeah, shark accident.
Fucking absolute torpedo, prehistoric creature of the sea rips your arm off. Minor accident, you'll be fine. Walk it off. Stop being such a baby.
And she did. So fair, but it just goes to show you, it just really depends on, I think, the people you have around you and your mindset. And if you think, like, if it's something really important to you, obviously training is to you, then you'll get back up on your feet no matter what.
Yeah. I think as Henry Ford says, either you can or you can't. Both right. You know, if you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. It's like, no, I'll take a bit of time to sink in. You go, oh,
right, all the time.
Yeah, well, that makes me right all the time. And then when you come through that, you went, oh, right, now I see where he was going with that. Right, so it's about the system of personal belief. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So now that we're stuck in quarantine for another 3 weeks allegedly, or who knows after this, another 10 years, I don't know.
Why not?
Let's hope not. Because Kira will murder me. There's no other way around it. I will not make it through that. What thing you and I were discussing is about how, especially at the minute, somebody who competes at a decent level of in any athletic competition, specifically now for the likes of guys and girls who can't get into the boxing gym, the MMA gym, they can't get into their Thai boxing gym, they can't go and do judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, freestyle wrestling, professional wrestling. They can't get to these places. What I wanted to get from somebody of your expertise is tips that how that person can, 2 things. Number 1, stay mentally healthy and motivated. And number 2, not lose too much physical condition. You have to recognize that you're going to lose some physical condition, but not lose too much. So what would be your tips now for that?
Okay, so for not losing too much, I would say everyone who's at that level would potentially have a coach or some sort of program that they would be following already.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say mimic your timetable. This is what I'm doing with my studies as well, and my training is mimic your timetable as good as you can outside, the or outside the capabilities that you can.
Yeah.
So if you can get equipment that you need to mimic what you're training, that would be absolutely amazing. And just same thing as what I said with those movement patterns. If you know your movement patterns of your sport, keep going through your movement patterns. You're not necessarily going to be as intense as what you would in the gym, but still move through the movement patterns. Muscle memory will still be there, so make sure that you're still moving through the same things. You still have your range of motion, and that your body is still working to some form of degree as what you would have been doing before.
Yeah.
And check in with your coach. If you have a coach, check in with them, do FaceTime sessions with them, and make sure that you're still getting that one-to-one, because I think that's what a lot of people psychologically will miss, is they're meeting up with their coaches telling them what to do, people being on top of them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can sit down with your coach and work through some form of plan, so you still could maybe have a check-in every week, so just to make sure you're doing your sessions, because it's so easy to wake up and just say, I don't feel like doing it today, whereas if you're seeing your coach 7 days a week, you'll have to do your sessions. So I would still have some sort of accountability. Yeah. So check in with them once a week to make sure that you're still getting your sessions in, but make sure your sessions are tailored to what you have at home. Get as much equipment as you can for whatever sport it is that you need, but still mimic those movement patterns. I think that's the biggest one, would be to stick to your movement patterns and make sure that you're not lagging behind on them, and that you still have your full range of motion, so that when you come back, you've still been working through the same kind of principles. So your body's not going to lose anything. You may lose a wee bit of strength, you may lose a wee bit of size, you may lose a wee bit of muscle, but that can all be kind of worked on. At least you haven't lost any technique or form or proper function. And then with your
No, go on ahead, Karen.
No, that's all I was going to say on that part.
No, that all makes like great sense. Would you say, sticking to like a principle / timetable, would you say stick to the same times that you would normally train? So for a lot of people, their nighttime was like when they're hitting the gym. Not everybody can be a professional, sadly. We all can't do it every single day, as you would much love to do. So would you say stick to that timetable? So if you normally train the Monday night from 7 to 9, would you stick to that again, or would you
I would say find whatever time you feel most productive at, because I think now everything's completely changed. So everyone had their cardian rhythm to follow before, or everyone did certain things at certain times because that's the situation you were in. I think everyone's situation has now changed, and I think people will feel productive at different times of the day. So I would say take a couple of days to figure out what your cycle is at the minute. Are you waking up at a different time? Are you going to bed at a different time? Are you eating at different times? Because that's all going to affect your training. And if you're eating slightly earlier, then you need to base that around your training. If you're eating later, then base that around your training. If you're finding now that you're more productive in the morning with the sunlight, I would just get out and train in the morning time if you can. If you feel that you can't face it in the morning and you'd rather do it later in the evening, well then do it later in the evening. But I would still try and find a cycle that works for you. So try and find your cycle, find your rhythm, and find what part of the day you're more productive. Like with me, with cardio and things, I'm a morning cardio person. Like the longer I leave my cardio later in the day, the less it's going to get done. So if I need to do running or my cycle or anything, I get up and I just do it in the morning, because for me, that's the most productive time. But when then it comes to doing my weights at the minute, I don't know why, but at like 4 o'clock, we've started doing our sessions, our weighted sessions at about 4 o'clock. And we just do them outside in the garden. And I think that's because like the sun's coming down, so it's getting a bit cooler, and like the evening's kind of settling a bit. So that's when we personally are finding our perfect time to do weights. And then definitely cardio in the morning, get up and do it. Weights in the afternoon, enjoy it. That's
a perfect idea. Regarding, you do a lot of mindset training and coaching with your clients you were talking about earlier on. What advice would you give to somebody who is now realistically their boxing club's gone, their MMA gym's gone? What advice would you give that person who is really suffering from a lack of motivation at the moment?
I would say get an accountability buddy, number one. So get someone that you can check in with. It can even be a family member. It can be a friend. It can be a coach. It can be maybe even someone you went to the gym with, or someone that you knew from the gym. I'm pretty sure if you reached out to anybody would be happy to be your accountability buddy. And just get a check-in buddy. So you can do your check-ins online. You can do your check-in by phone, and try and write yourself out a little program. There's a million of them online. I have lots of workouts on my Instagram. lots of exercises, and try and build yourself a little plan, because you'll feel a lot better for it. So I still sit down every Sunday night with my diary, even though I probably don't need it, but I do, and I plan out my week. So I still will put in, this morning we're going to do a run, this morning I'm going to do my cycle, this morning I'm going to do my walk, and then I'll put in training this day, yoga this day, training this day. And then I'll check in with someone in my house and be like, right, I'm doing my running at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Can you just make sure that I've got up and I'm going out the door? And they do. So if I haven't done it and then I creep downstairs, they're like to me, we're not meant to be going out running at 9 o'clock. And then I'll be like, right, I'll do it now. I do find though, like our time schedules are a wee bit more lackadaisy at the minute. So if I say I'm going to go out running at 9, if I do it at 10, I'm okay with that, as long as I've still got it done. We personally, I'm a bit of a sado, and we have a whiteboard on our fridge. So every single day I write down like 6 to 8 things that we're going to do throughout the day. So like number 1 every day is exercise. So I have yoga, run, weights, depending on what we're doing that day. And then we have our dog walk. And then I have things like just simple things like hoover the living room. And then I would have, if we need to go to the fridge shop that day, so that would be our day to go to the fridge shop. And like if someone else wanted to do, I don't know, we sit down every night and watch a TV program, so that would be on the board. And then as the day goes on, we just tick off the kind of things that we were doing. So say you had 8 things and you completed 5 out of them, I think that's good enough for a day. And then those other things you can move to the next day. Yeah. So that's what we're kind of doing. It's like, it's just like something simple.
Yeah, accountability board.
Yeah. And we put it on the fridge. I have it stuck in the middle of the fridge for everyone. So I write down my things, and if people want to write something else onto it, they can. So the other day, someone wanted to do the power hosing, and we had everything written down, but that's what they wanted to do. So they just wrote power hose on the board and did it. I think it's a bit of a fulfilling thing. Then we give ourselves a big red tick. So it's like yes, I did yoga today. Yeah. So so I think sometimes we just want to write it on the board so we can tick it off and say we did it. But I definitely think if you can do a weekly schedule, absolutely perfect, and then break it down and do a daily schedule, and just have, like, don't put too much pressure on yourself right now, because the situation we're in, nobody could have predicted it. But if you can still try and follow some form of timetable, I think you'll be a lot more mentally prepared for it.
That is extremely good advice. We actually have something similar on our fridge. Kara just wrote all over it, I need a holiday. So that's what's on it.
When can we book it?
We're going to write all these great things on the board. Just like, I need a holiday. Leave it at that. Okay. Yeah.
We write different things. It's hilarious. We find random quotes. Like I come down and my mum, like I will have written like, we're getting bikini bods by the summer or something, and then she'll just write something completely just ridiculous underneath it. Like, if you wear your bikini every day, then you'll start to think about what you're eating, won't you?
Very true, actually, as well.
Yeah. It's really funny things, but someone said that, or she found that on some Facebook thing. It was like, someone wanted a bikini body, and then they were like, well, if you wore your bikini every day, you might feel like you want to get one more.
Yeah, and actually, it's strange the parallel between what we're talking about, Diamond Dallas Page's book. He talked about as well having something on the fridge as well. Every time, like, do you really need this?
That's weird. I haven't said.
Just like a wee question, like, do you really need this again? Because the amount of times, like, I know that's been okay when I've been in here, but you're still like going and finding like something to eat in the cupboard or something to eat out of the fridge, and you're like, I don't really need to eat.
Do you need it?
No, we don't. Unless it's like fruit or vegetables, and then knock yourself out. But it's normally not fruit or vegetables. It's definitely not. So you're like, oh fuck, I don't need that. And I thought that was a brilliant idea. That little question, I suppose it's self-questioning, your self-reflection about going, no, I don't need that. And it might put your mind at rest or ease to think, well, that's okay. I don't really need to go and shovel 7 Snickers into my fat face every day.
No, there's a thing called the 3-minute rule, if you've heard of it. So we used to write it on the board as well, take the 3-minute rule. So you just take 3 minutes to really think about, do you need this? Is this what you want? And see, sometimes if the answer is yes, you don't really need it, but it's something that you really want. And that's perfectly okay to have, but it's just kind of realizing when those times are okay, and then when those times are maybe trying to mask another issue. So it's like
if there's something else. Yeah.
So are you eating for like positive reasons because you actually just really want it and you're hungry, or just because like you're really in the mood for a bit of chocolate, or are you eating it to mask maybe sadness or depression or something else? Which in that case I would say that needs to be looked at rather than
shoveling
the food issue.
Yeah, because
that's a whole different boy flesh.
Flip me, there's another 10 podcasts in this. But that is true, you know, accountability for food as well. And people do eat for comfort. I know, of course, everybody does. I'm definitely one of those creatures who eats for comfort. And I think that that's one of the things that there's another issue maybe just simmering below the surface. You know, what's making you uncomfortable, that bag of crisps or chocolate will help you
not
to get
fulfill.
Just exactly. So in closing with what we've just talked about, stick to a good timetable regarding your exercise. Get an accountability board.
And buddy.
And also a check-in partner. Make sure you are using technology to stay on top of your training with your coach. If you have equipment, make sure you're using it. Stick to movements as close to those that you will use during the course of competition or training as much as humanly possible. And don't beat yourself up if you don't train on a specific day or time, and give your mental health a break.
Yeah.
That's
good points, isn't it?
They are fucking excellent points. That's like the start of a book. Isn't it? It's like the start of a book. So like,
we'll write this down.
Yeah. I know you need a cool name. It's not going to be like Andy's book. I'm not reading that. That's really wick. So I bet that's
we'll think about it.
Another white hot page. It has been really, really superb having a quick chat with you today. As I said, there's probably another 10 podcasts and even the last 10 sentences that we talked about accountability and mental health, goal setting and mindset. So in every aspect of exercise, all those things are really, really prevalent, and you touched on some of the successes that you've had with people, which is quite impressive overall. And as I said, you're one of Northern Ireland's premier personal trainers, more successful personal trainers at the minute, with a huge social media following as well. Your social media is something that to me, I'm quite astounded at. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm rubbish at social media, by the way, really, really awful at it. As a quick aside to what we're talking about, a lot of combat sports professionals have great social media and they have really good fun things on it. There's a guy called Derek Lewis. If you haven't seen him, I promise you will not be disappointed. Look, some of it is really cruel, but some is very, very funny. And a lot of the other guys, Joe Parker, you know who Joseph Parker is, professional heavyweight boxer.
No, I'll have to look them up. Send me the wee list after and I'll look them all
up. Joseph Parker has been doing daily workouts online. And now he's involved his wife in it, and it's
amazing.
They've got like, it's just become very, very good and funny. And every morning at 9, he's a New Zealander, I think, so wherever he is, he's doing this workout, sticking, as you said, the accountability. Tyson Fury's doing online box fit classes for people. It is super
amazing.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and people are finding more creative and more versatile ways to become interactive with others, and it's all through the I suppose the great platform that is social media. So yours is brilliant. How did you build that up to what it is, and do you use social media as part of your reaching out to people?
Yeah, I definitely do. I started my Instagram page, Steffie Loves, just as like an Instagram page for things that I really enjoy doing. So it was fitness, it was cooking, it was my dogs, it was going for walks and things like that. So if you scroll down like 1,800 posts or something, it's all just it just started off cooking, and then once I was into fitness and doing my training, it was based on that. And then I did 2 bodybuilding shows, not a lot of people know as well. So there's pictures way back there of when that whole started. And then
what category, just out of interest, because my memory is terrible. So
I did body fitness, so it was not bikini, it was the next one up. It was one that was a wee bit more muscular dense. Didn't do very well in them, mind you, but like I give it a whirl and tried it. But at that time, that was maybe,
what was it?
It was UK BFF. But this was like many months ago. This was maybe 8 years or so ago. So this was like at the beginning, before a lot of people were doing it. And I don't think at that point in time there was maybe as much good knowledge about it. It was more kind of like when I dieted down, it was like diet down as much as you can, and it was like not eating very much. And I don't know, I didn't really get very much about it myself. It definitely wasn't a sport for me, but I'm glad I tried it. But it was all documented on my Instagram, and then it just kind of turned into more like what Steph likes to do for fitness kind of page, and motivation and mindset for people. So I built it as kind of like a self-help thing for myself. So it was like, if I found something really helpful, I would research it, write an article about it, and post it up, because if I found it helpful, I thought then other people would find it helpful. And that's just kind of where it built up from. And if I find something inspiring or something that I think has affected me or could affect someone else, I'll go and I'll do a lot of research on it, and I'll write an article on it that is kind of dumbed a bit down to like my kind of knowledge, if you know what I mean. So it just kind of goes out as I would say it, rather than like a scientist or whatever. And then I always just did lots of workout videos because I really enjoy doing them. For me, it's kind of like a hobby as well. I enjoy creating my little workout videos, and I enjoy like sitting down thinking about it. It kind of gives you a bit of a purpose, I think, as well. So it was all just kind of built from that. It was just fun things that I like to do.
Yeah, it is a thing of wonder, actually, to be frankly honest with you, because I'm just garbage at it. And it's not that. I'm not inherently a lazy human being. I'm genuinely not. But I'm doing so many other things. I just don't.
It's not a priority.
It's not a priority. And I suppose it's not a priority for anybody, ultimately. What setup are you using? Are you just using your phone? Are you using...
Yeah, I just use my phone. I just use my phone, and I have a tripod, and that's about the height of it. I went and bought a camera at like £750 or something, and I've never used it. Used it. So I just use my phone all the time. I don't know. I think your phone kind of gives it a bit more of a personal kind of thing, and you can do so many things on your phone these days. Like I can set my tripod out there and do a workout. Like yesterday I did my first Instagram live, and we had like nearly 200 people doing the workout. That's which crazy. I thought was amazing. And it was just a basic body weight circuit out in the garden, and I did it at 7 a.m. and it stays live on your page all day. And then by the end of the day, like 200 people had done it. So like it's just amazing to be able to get that outreach. So I'm doing another one here on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. if anybody wants to join in. But Instagram live things are great.
They are. It's absolutely amazing. As I said, I think it's a fantastic way now that people are connecting. The way we're connecting now, Zoom is like revolutionary to me. I was using Skype as well for a while. I had a 50% strike rate with Skype, which also means I had a 50% cock up rate with Skype. So it either worked really well or it fucking failed miserably, you know. So I'm kind of thinking of canning Skype in that way, unless the person really, really needs to use it. So before we sadly have to terminate this, where can people find you? First of all, physically, whenever this virus pisses off to wherever it's supposed to go, where can people find you physically?
At the minute, I'm in Flex Gym NI, and if you just contact me, I have my Facebook page as well, Stephanie McCluskey. You can contact me on that. I have a website, www.steffieloves.com, so people can contact me through there as well. And then I have my Instagram, so it's Steffie Loves as well. And it is filled with like recipes, nutrition, and exercise. There's 1,000,001 exercises on that as well for people of all abilities, all ages, all shapes, all sizes, and all kind of goals as well.
That's brilliant. Do you have anybody else you would like to give a little shout out to while you're here?
No, I didn't really think about it.
I do this on purpose, right? I put people on the spot and they go, "Well, you fucking tell me about this. I don't know.
My dogs, my two dogs. I have two dogs, two huskies, Luna and Juno. They're my children.
Beautiful. Yeah, this little fluffy thing beside me is my child as well, but she's been very, very quiet today, which is wonderful. So before we go, quick fire questions. Are you a gamer? Do you ever play games?
No.
All right, then we're going to can that one then. All right, so forget that. Okay, editing, creative editing. I won't remove that. Do you watch films?
Yes.
Okay, 3 film genres: horror, action, and comedy. What's your favorite?
Horror.
Okay, what's your favorite horror film?
Oh, I like Silence of the Lambs. It's quite good. It's a psychological thriller.
Yeah, that is it. I do like Silence of the Lambs. So favorite horror genre is obviously horror. Favorite film then is Silence of the Lambs. Best book you've read?
It's not the most creative book, but it was a book I read recently and I really, really enjoyed. It's up here. Dawn O'Porter. It's called So Lucky. And it was just for all females, it's a very relatable book, and it's just about how everything on the outside of people's life may look absolutely perfect and amazing, but if you delve into what's going on in their lives, could be a completely different story. So don't believe everything you see on the outside. That
is good advice for life, actually.
It was a very good book, so it was. I just looked it up there. I bought it. I've only just got into reading as well. I never used to read too much, but really enjoyed it.
Do you have Audible?
Audible, yeah, I do have Audible.
That is something that is, remind me whenever I stop recording, stay on, and get your number. I'll send you, if I go over and I will send you the Diamond Dallas page one if you have.
Yeah, and if you talk about audible books, the best one I've listened to is The Chimp Paradox.
Got it, love it.
The best. It is
Steve
the best.
Peters.
I've listened to it twice.
I've listened to it literally now 10, 12 times, and there's bits every time I listen to it. I'm going, oh, I didn't
hear that first time.
I missed it. Or you probably did, but my brain my monkey brain isn't working. It's just like banging off the inside of it. Going, yep, nothing in there. Too late. Look, Steph, it's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic to get a chat with you. People can find you at Steffie Loves on Instagram, Stephanie McCluskey on Facebook, and steffieloves.com. It's been brilliant to have you on. So, look, Steph, thank you very, very much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. Hope I didn't talk too much.
No, that's the goal of these things. It'd be shit if you just sat there and didn't talk at all. Like, nope, not going to talk. So that was the goal of these things. You've given some insightful, fantastic little insights into the fitness industry for yourself, how life is working, and also some good mindset goals and accountability for people who are like everybody now around the globe who are training in their back garden or running / walking their dogs, cycling, whatever. So, Steph, this has been Not Another Fightcast. You can find us on anti-social media at Not Another Fightcast on the socials. That is a thing, by the way. I said that once, and socials, what are you talking about, dickhead?
The social channels.
And it's now just become something that I've said every time. So much so that Phil was like, we're not saying it again. I was like, I'm going to say it again. So on the socials, you can find us at Not Another Fightcast on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook again, Not Another Fightcast. And also, we do have a YouTube channel, but it is only one video. As I said, I'm rubbish at social media, but I promise you I will get better. We will get better at it. I have been Andy the Icon Burge. You can find me on Instagram at _icon77. As I said before, it's just literally videos of me boxing and my dog and some flowers. I don't know why anybody would find it remotely interesting, but that's what you find. Also, my co-host, who's not here today, sadly, is Mr. PC_commentary. He's doing another online chat at the minute with Brave Combat Federation, so sadly, Phil couldn't be with us today. But thank you very much, folks. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hope you enjoyed the show. As Steffie speaking to me second, I'm just going to stop recording. Cheers. Bye, folks. Stay safe. Wash your hands as well.